Oh, what's up, guys, and welcome to the Managing Madrid podcast. Postgame, Kiyan Sobani flying solo here. It is still kind of raining at MetLife, and oh man, my eyes are bloodshot. I think I'm on like an unnecessary amount of caffeine for it being like midnight or whatever it is right now. Carlo Ancelotti just went through the mix zone, and we are gonna wrap it up pretty quick here. I know these preseason postgame podcasts are a little bit less formal and filmed on an iPhone, so I hope you're okay with it. Very on the go this preseason. Tonight was nuts. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but I feel like I don't really need to, because you may have gotten a sense of what it was like watching on TV. And I really, look, if you stayed up for this one, if you're like in the Middle East or Europe or wherever, my condolences, but also my respect to your dedication and loyalty to Real Madrid fandom in the inevitable Clásico preseason loss, which I think is a good omen for the rest of the season. So congrats, Barca fans. I already congratulated you before the game because I knew it was coming. So I'm really happy for you guys. It's a really big moment for you. I know it's all that you have. I'm just so freaking happy for you, and I really, really mean that from the bottom of my heart. More seriously, we weren't sure if this game was going to go ahead, and look, I don't like complaining. I'm just going to tell you what happened. So when we came in, the journalists were stuck in the pouring rain with no shelters getting their accreditation. So a lot of us were just soaked, sitting down for like 2-3 hours, and the AC was blasting. So look, it wasn't that bad compared to what the fans went through. I feel really bad for them, the ones who bought tickets and traveled here. It was not easy to be squished underneath those shelters for like 45 minutes or whatever it was. Nevertheless, the game finally concluded. It finally went ahead, and I don't know how much to get into the analysis. I asked Ancelotti about Joan Martinez after the game, and I posted that clip on YouTube if you want to go back and listen to his answer. And I was asking him about like Joan Martinez's readiness for the first team, because our center back situation is what it is. It doesn't look like there's going to be any more signings. Vallejo is, you just never know. It's a highly volatile situation with him. He was healthy one day, then he got injured. Twice this preseason. Militao stepped in now. I don't want to get into too many over-analysis with regards to the defending tonight, but it wasn't good. Militao and Rudiger both respectively made mistakes on both those Pau Victor goals. I don't know if it was just a lack of match rhythm or what it was, but they were individual lapses that should have been avoided. What else? Arda Guler. I swear, I don't know if I've talked about one single player more in the past 2 months. I've talked about him more than Mbappe. And I've talked about him because every minute he does something that is like, wow, this kid is special. Decision making is great. Like, how many times do you see a really talented player just not able to put it together from a mental perspective? Arda Guler has done that. Again, I've repeated this so many times, but think about the fact that he barely played last season due to injury. When he came back, there were no signs of like, oh, I'm feeling the pressure, I need to integrate myself. No, bang, right away, first touch, second touch, it was just gung-ho. All those limited minutes were incredible. Go back and look at the analytics. He led the Big Five leagues in goals per shot. I know it's a very limited sample size, but he was deadly efficient. You fast forward, the Euros were amazing from him. First international tournament, he's a teenager, lights out. Second preseason game for Real Madrid as a starter, fantastic. I thought he was fantastic tonight. The touches under pressure, the decision making, the quick thinking, the execution, the defensive ability, the reads, the work ethic, just the right passes, the right dribbles, the right decisions, the right passes into the box. The corner kicks are a cheat code. If you get a corner kick and Arda Guler is on the field, it's a cheat code. So may he be on the field for every single corner kick we have. I know that's not necessarily likely. I just, like, in my mind, the two starting positions, the last position in my mind was down to Rodrigo and Camavinga. I gotta tell you, I think Guler has entered that conversation to be the starter, the 11th man. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, I'm that impressed with him. Now, maybe I should pump the brakes, but I'm just going based on what I've seen so far. He's been super impressive, and if we're just talking about meritocracy, I think he's just been phenomenal. So I'm really excited about the Guler piece this season. What else? A lot of kids. I think we had 6 Castilla players on the field today at various points. Jean Martinez looked pretty good too on his composure on the ball when he came in the second half. Vinny, his first game back. A couple of his first touches were rusty, but then he also cooked his defender a couple of times. He injected, I think, some nice, much-needed flair into this game. Endrick struggled a little bit to get on the ball. It's interesting because on one hand, Endrick is very strong and explosive in tight spaces. On the other hand, I feel like he needs to do better to shield the ball and show strength in those situations. So I think he's strong. He's got a physical dominance too, but there are times where I think he just needs to shield the ball a little bit stronger. Brahim a little bit quieter today than he was in his first game. What else? I'm not on my laptop with my notepad here, so I'm going off the cuff. Courtois, great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought Jacobo Ramon looked pretty good off the bench. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, and the reason I'm kind of going off the cuff and with my iPhone here is because a lot of us here are just tired. We've been here for a long time, and it's cold and it's rainy, and we're kind of excited to go home. So that's what it is. Tomorrow you'll get a much longer podcast. Tomorrow we're in New York, and we're holding a podcast for a pretty big audience. Last time I checked, the numbers are pretty big on this one. So if you're planning on attending tomorrow night at Tempo Times Square, show up early because it's Times Square. It's going to be a gong show with traffic. So please come early. We're going to start right at 7, so you can come anytime between 6 and 7. And it's going to be a ton of fun. So yeah, guys, that's it. Wow, 7 minutes. I feel like this is a record for a podcast. It's not even a podcast. This is just sporadic thoughts. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for a much longer podcast. I think that one's going to be like 2 or 3 hours, and then we head to Charlotte after that, which will be a ton of fun. And then the real season starts. Thank you so much. Kiyan Sobhani signing off, and Hala Madrid.